Before I tell you the story of Hayato, before we travel into the mountains of ancient Japan, there is a truth you must understand. There once lived a samurai who was feared across the land, not because he could strike faster than lightning, not because he won every battle, but because no one had ever seen him afraid. Soldiers whispered that his mind was made of iron. Villagers believed he mastered some forbidden magic. Even war generals stood in silence when he passed by. But none of them knew the truth. Behind his calm face, behind the armor and the legends, this warrior carried storms inside his heart. Storms just like the ones you feel. Anxiety, fear, restlessness, those thoughts that appear at night when the world goes quiet. He struggled with all of them. Until one night, everything changed. It was the middle of winter. A violent storm rolled across the mountains, shaking the walls of every home. Thunder cracked like the sky was tearing apart. Wind howled like angry spirits. Even the bravest men hid inside, trembling. But the samurai stood outside, alone. Rain soaked his armor. Lightning flashed. He didn't move. And then he sat down in the heart of the storm. Not to meditate, not to fight, but to face something inside himself. People watching from their windows whispered, "Is he trying to die? Has he lost his mind?" But the samurai had never been more alive. He closed his eyes and began a strange, slow breathing pattern. 4 seconds in, 2 seconds hold, 6 seconds out. Again, and again, and again. And something unbelievable happened. The warrior's breath slowed. His body relaxed. His fear melted away, even though the storm raged around him. It was as if the world outside no longer had permission to control the world inside. When the storm finally passed, the samurai stood up, calm as dawn. A young villager approached him and asked, "Master, how did you stay so calm when even the earth was shaking?" The samurai placed a hand over his heart and said, "When I control this, nothing outside can control me." That night, he revealed a ritual so powerful it allowed warriors to walk into battle with peaceful minds, farmers to sleep without fear, and monks to meditate for hours without a single anxious thought. Most people forgot this ritual over time, but a very few, passed it on. One of those men was Master Riku, and the person he taught was a frightened young potter named Hayato, a boy who believed his mind was broken until he learned the secrets of the forgotten samurai. This is Hayato's story, a story that may help you the same way it helped him. Now, let us go back to the beginning, before Hayato met Riku, before he learned the ritual, to a time when his life felt like a storm with no end. In the mountains of ancient Japan, where mist curled around cedar trees like drifting spirits, there lived a young man named Hayato. Hayato was not a warrior, not yet. He was a potter's apprentice, quiet, gentle, and often overwhelmed by life. Every mistake echoed in his mind. Every failure felt like a weight on his chest. His thoughts raced faster than he could breathe. One evening, after a long day of disappointment, Hayato sat by the river and whispered, "Why can't my heart ever be still?" He believed he was simply born anxious, until the night he met someone who would change everything.
a retired samurai named Master Riku, a man whose presence felt as steady as the mountains themselves. The old warrior watched Hayato's trembling hands and said only one sentence: "Your spirit is loud because you never learned to quiet it." And this was the beginning of Hayato's journey into the forgotten ritual of the samurai. Master Riku was known across the valley, not for his battles, but for his peace. People whispered that he once stood alone against 20 soldiers, yet claimed his true victory was learning how not to fight, learning how to conquer the enemy within himself. Hayato visited Riku's home the next morning. The old man lived in a small wooden hut surrounded by a garden of stones. No flowers, no trees, just stones arranged in perfect harmony. Hayato asked shyly, "Master, can you teach me to calm my mind?" Riku nodded and motioned him to sit. "You carry storms inside your chest," he said. "Samurai once trained their minds more than their swords. If you learn their forgotten ritual, your storms will rest." Hayato didn't yet understand, but he was ready.
Riku's first lesson was surprisingly simple. He took Hayato to the edge of a quiet lake. The water was perfectly still, reflecting the sky like a mirror. "Tell me," Riku said, "what do you see?" Hayato answered, "Peace." Riku smiled gently. "That peace exists only because the water does not move. To calm your mind, you must calm your breath." He taught Hayato the samurai breath, a forgotten ritual used before battle. Inhale for 4 seconds, slowly, like drawing the dawn into your chest. Hold for 2 seconds. Feel the world pause. Exhale for 6 seconds. Release the weight you carry. 10 breaths, Riku said, and your mind will begin to obey you. At first, Hayato struggled. His breaths were uneven, thoughts kept intruding. But as he continued, the lake inside him slowly began to settle. For the first time in years, he felt a moment of silence within his heart. A small victory, but a powerful one. Days passed. One morning, Riku handed Hayato a smooth river stone. "Hold this," he said. Hayato weighed it in his palm. Riku asked, "How heavy is it?" "Not very," Hayato replied. The old master shook his head. "It is only light because you've held it for a moment. Keep holding it for an hour, and it becomes heavy. Hold it for a day, and it becomes unbearable." Hayato understood. "This stone is your worries," Riku said. "You think they are small, but you hold them all day, every day." Riku then taught him the ritual of letting the stone fall. Speak your worry aloud. Imagine placing it into the stone. Drop the stone onto the earth and walk away. Hayato tried it. He whispered, "I fear I am not good enough." And he dropped the stone. It landed softly, but inside him something shifted. A small piece of his fear had fallen away. As days turned into weeks, Riku introduced the next ritual, the samurai walk. Samurai believed that movement aligns the mind with the body. If the body moves with intention, the mind follows.
Hayato followed Riku through bamboo forests, mountain paths, and quiet valleys. "Walk with purpose," Riku said. "Each step is a promise. A samurai does not wander, he moves with intention." For the first time, Hayato felt himself walking towards something instead of walking away from his fears. But progress is never a straight path. One night, Hayato's anxiety returned. Harder, louder, heavier. He felt he had failed. His thoughts spiraled. "I'm not strong. I'm not like Riku. I can never be calm." He nearly gave up. The next morning, Riku found him sitting alone. "Why do you look defeated?" the master asked. Hayato whispered, "My doubts returned. I thought I was done with them." Master Riku knelt beside him. "No warrior is free from doubt. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the act of continuing despite it." Then he shared the ancient samurai truth. You don't eliminate fear. You train it to walk behind you instead of in front of you. Hayato felt tears rise. For the first time, he realized that even Riku had once battled the same storms. At dawn, Riku took Hayato to a cliff overlooking the valley. "This is the final part of the ritual," he said, "the rising sun method." As the golden light spread across the mountains, Riku instructed, "Sit in silence. Focus on the warmth of your skin. Breathe deeply and slowly. Whisper 3 truths. I am here. I am enough. I am becoming." Hayato closed his eyes. For the first time in his life, he felt strong from the inside. Not loud, not forceful, simply steady, like the sun. Riku then gave Hayato his final challenge. To become a true warrior of peace, you must face the storm inside you. He led him to a quiet room, empty except for a single candle. "You will sit here for 1 hour," Riku said. "Do nothing, think nothing. Let the storm rise, and let it pass." Hayato sat. At first, his mind screamed. Thoughts rushed, anxiety clawed, memories attacked. But then, the breath returned, the calm returned, and the storm began to lose its power. When Riku returned, he saw a new man sitting before him. Calm, steady, awake. Riku smiled. "You have learned the forgotten ritual, Hayato. Breath, release, purpose, presence, stillness. This was how samurai prepared for battle, not with strength of muscle, but strength of mind." Hayato bowed deeply. For the first time in his life, his chest felt light, his mind felt clear, and his spirit felt unshakable. He was no longer the anxious apprentice. He was the warrior of his own inner world. Years later, Hayato became a teacher, not of pottery, but of peace. People from distant villages traveled to learn from him. And every time someone asked, "How did you overcome your fear?" Hayato would smile softly and answer, "I didn't overcome it. I simply learned to walk peacefully while the storm walked behind me." And then he would teach them the forgotten samurai ritual that restores inner peace in 10 minutes. The ritual that changed his life. The ritual that can change anyone's life, including yours. Breathe. Release. Walk with purpose. Be present. Be still. This is the way of the peaceful warrior.